I look at it.
There it is. Alright.
I still went to my room.
I don't know how far it's like that. How delayed it is.
The delay won't matter a little bit too much. Let's go. I will go to over Insect Glade first. This is my house.
Well, let's play it, I think.
I got a fucking penguin in here.
Penguin, that's pretty cool.
Okay. Alright, go to the train arena.
I just want to start my penguin's head in.
Why?
There's a very stoppable head.
The fuck is wrong with you? Okay, first thing first. With Insect Glade, we need a different fucking thing. Hold up. Okay, with Insect Glade is a more agile weapon. Alright. Okay, the first thing to do with Insect Glade is to do this. I want to show this for you. Basically, you want to get buffs. Red buffs is a damage buff that also changes your attack. Hey, you see it? And the white buff increases your jump height, and the orange one increases your defense. You do get a damage buff for having all three, but most just use white and red because it's kind of annoying to try to get all three buffs. Yeah, if you notice something about Insect Glade, unlike most other weapons, it doesn't really have a big hit. Like, the biggest hit it has is Descending Thrust, and it's not that big of a hit. But what this thing does have is relatively safe, because as you can see right now, you can, as long as you hit the monster with your aerial stuff, you can definitely stay in the air. And doing air stuff in this game will do mountain damage, which basically allows you to mount the monster, though you only get a successful mount once per hunt. But the rest, like, Insect Glade on the ground doesn't really have to go. Like, yeah, it's aerial, but the most damage you do is like on the ground, which is kind of lame. In your Insect can also attack passively if you just hit R2 on this and you shoot something out, and your Insect will start to attack that spot you hit. So you gotta make sure you hit a weak spot with that. Okay, that's what I got for Insect Glade. Now let's go. What other weapon you're interested in?
Okay. Do the sword. I want to see the sword.
Long sword. Okay. Okay, with the longsword, it's a very counter-heavy weapon. I can't really test it because it's a dummy. But basically, what you're going to be noticing is the gauge on the top left filling up. You want to get it maxed. So basically, your normal attacks, like circle, and triangle will build the gauge up, and the gauge will allow you to do Spirit Slash, which is R2 stuff. And hit that last hit, the one where you're. Here's what it looks like normally. Like this hit right here is the one that basically changes the color of the blade, increasing the amount of damage it does. So you want to get it up to like the red.
Okay.
Then you take the sword. Then at this point, like you could do this move at any time, but it's best to do at the red point. Spirit Slash is basically the longsword's big move. You can do it out of Foresight Slash, which is also a big part of longsword's moveset. Foresight Slash basically has a really big IE frames. Basically, it's a dodge attack. So you do this fire works normally. If you were to get a counter hit, like you would do like a little ding. It means that you got the successful Foresight Slash, which allows you to hit R2 afterwards for the Spirit Roundabout Slash. Foresight Slash also has two different things you can do to cancel out of it. Here, you can sheath your sword, or you could go for a Helm Splitter. It's gonna take you a while to get like, know when to use that or not. And at this right here, you got this move right here. It got a little bit of IE frames at the end, like at the start of it, but not reliable. But you mostly use that move to like basically stop the forced sheath, because you're forced to sheath after doing that move. So you hit R2 and X to order to like continue your attacks like so.
Okay.
And another thing you could do in that sheath animation is hit R2 during it. You do that, which is also under the counterattack. But unlike the other two counterattacks, it doesn't really have IE frames. It's armored, meaning that you'll still take some damage from the attack, but you won't take like a whole lot.
Okay.
That's basically a longsword. What another weapon you're interested in?
Try out the gunman something.
Alright, Gunlance. Gunlance, you don't really care about positional with Gunlance. You got a shield right here. It's purely defensive. There's no real like mechanics tied to it. But the thing that makes Gunlance unique is the shelling mechanic. Alright, and there's three different types of gun lances. Right now, this one is normal, which you can tell by how much shells it has. It will have average, just normal shelling. But it's like bad at charge selling. See, it didn't really do that much. So only 29 damage. But what it sells at is burst shelling, which you can do right here. After a red smash, you could do that. Then you do wide sweep, and you hit R2 circle to quick reload, and definitely do this.
Okay.
But the issue with Gunlance is the sharpness. You can notice that it starts to eat up my sharpness incredibly fast. But the benefits of shelling is that in this game you have to care about where you hit the monster. So basically, when the color is orange, that means you hit them in a good spot. If the color is gray on the numbers, that means you hit them in a bad spot. But shelling for Gunlance, it doesn't really care about it. And there's more things you can do. Wyvern Blast basically is just the big hit for Gunlance. it's easier to hit than it looks. In fact, it's probably one of the easier big hits to use because there's no real like setup for it. You just do it, and you don't really lose a whole lot. You just have to recharge. Another thing you could do is Worm State Cannon. And this move is really weird because I don't know when to use it. Because honestly, it feels more like it's really hard to get it off. Honestly, but this right here is worth it. So basically, you go to guard, you hit L2 in circle, and you load Worm State Blast in, which allows you to do this. You put a stake inside, and what this does is that every shell damage you do will be increased. So right here, dash was 51 and it did 30, so I did 81 on a shell attack. So we do burst fire in it, it will do 300 damage, extra damage to it. Though this is Fatalis numbers, which is like the best gear in the game. But that is really high. But the good thing about Gunland is also is good at breaking parts, which causes monsters to flinch a lot more. So it's a good flinch weapon, and it's also really defensive. I kind of use this a lot when I first started to play the game. It's honestly a really good beginner's weapon. Though building for it is fucking annoying as hell because you gotta build up sharpness shit. Alright, what other weapon you interested in?
Try the regular lance.
Regular lance. Alright. Regular lance. You're slow as fuck in this. Like.
Yeah.
But it's a. But, alright, so basically here's what Lance does. Triangle, circle. The circle one does more damage. But what Lance excels at is counters. So you go to this, and if a monster hits you during that, you automatically do a counterattack. You can hold it for longer. It will charge it up, but it will do that much damage as a max charge if the monster actually attacks you during it. And like Anti-Glaive doesn't really have a big move, but it does have a lot of defensive options. You got this right here. Now this shit, I'm not a good Lance player to tell you how to properly use all these. Honestly, I don't really play Lance much. But just know it's a really good defensive weapon, but it has, of course, it's not really going to do a whole lot of damage.
Yeah. Okay.
Also get fooled by the short hops. These are really good for repositioning, all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it still has more the same amount of A-frames than the normal dodge. Okay, what other weapon you want to see? Swiss Axe, one of my mains. Okay, Swiss Axe. Swiss Axe has two modes, okay? There's Axe mode. In Axe mode, it has mobility. That's really it. But if you do this move on it, it doesn't do more damage, like I think I said before, but it does increase your damage to parts. Like, part damage causes parts to break easier, and it will cause the monster to flinch a lot more. Which will stop them from doing attacks, stuff like that. This move right here, the move we do the back step move right there is really important. It allows you to poke monsters easily. And that's about it to Axe. Then we got Sword mode. And Sword mode is what you do to build up. If you see that blue outline going up, that means like I'll do more damage with my attacks right here. But the thing about Sword mode is that blue line in the middle of it will go down the more I use it. So you have to go back to Axe mode. Best to use If you swap it as an attack, it will actually give you gauge back. But if you try to, like, you know, switch back to it normally, it will not give you gauge back. So you gotta use it as a part of your attacks, and not, yeah.
Okay.
Ow. We get to max blue gauge, you'll be able to do this. You don't need to use a clutch card to use it. You can just do it like this. Yeah, you can also clutch card if the thing I do with switch axe. You can cancel that early by holding triangle. You tap triangle to continue doing it, hold triangle to cancel it early. But the thing I like to do is that I do this where I'm like near max on the blue outline, and then you can, because that move also builds up the blue outline, and you hit L2 during it too, it most certainly from half will hit it from max. Okay, I think I can show it now. Also, I can see what I mean right here. Hit R2, it will get your gaze back faster right there. Alright, so like this. And then you do that. That's pretty much switch axe right there. One of my favorite weapons to use. If you what weapon you want to see? I got Charge Blade. Charge Blade has a lot of stuff going on. So basically, the first thing you want to do is build up files. That is like the best. You can basically hit the mustard sword mode. Then you get to power up your shield. Basically, when you go to that position, put the sword in first. Then you do this, R2, and your shield become powered up. That needs to be active at all times. Then while the shield is powered up, you'll be able to do this with the sword. Now your sword will do a bit extra damage. For elemental charge blades, it will do extra elemental damage. For non-elemental charge blade, it will do impact damage, which is essentially KO damage. Alright, there's things you could do in charge blade. That move right there, if you're in that position, you can hold back triangle to do a singular file attack. Or you can help L2 to do a Savage Axe mode, which basically powers up your axe mode to do extra bits of damage like that. Keep in mind, this counts as extra hits, so it's going to eat away your sharpness. So if you're going to use this a lot, you need to build up sharpness, which I don't really have a whole lot of. Or if you don't really do anything at all, it will just do this. A big punishing attack that wastes all your files. So it makes it so that way there's two conflicting playstyles for Charge Blade. You can either just spam Super Elemental Discharge, which that move was called, or you can use Savage Axe mode. But do not try to combine the two, because it would just be hard to manage all your files like that. And not only that, but a lot of moves from Charge Blade change into each other. Like, every move you do in sword mode can just go into R2 circle, which charges your files. and doing a side step right here will allow you to do Science Slash. Science Slash is a good move because it allows you to like reposition, and I don't have a way to show you this, but if you hold R2 and hit triangle, you do a guard point, and guard point allows you to essentially get extra points of guard, which is a skill, a passive skill in this game where it increases the amount of things you can block, but also how much block stun you have. At no guard, a lot of moves with block stun you, but they allows you to not really like dodge out when you block an attack. But in like 3, most moves will not block stun you, which allows you to either like dodge out of it like that, and to activate it. But what guard pointing does is that it actually gives you another extra point. So power up the shield gives you 1 extra point, and doing a guard point like that, well, it shouldn't look like that. It should look like you blocking with an extra spark coming off of it. Yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about when you talk about Charge Blade. I even get the fact that some moves, that move, it can guard point automatically. This move guard points automatically, and this move right here could guard point automatically. But they have very different timings, so you gotta get used to that. Alright, what other move you want to know? What weapon you want to see? I'm about to go down my list, right? You got Hammer, which I would say is one of the easier weapons in the games to use. It's just a hammer. Basically, always do this first. We're about to attack a monster, power charge. It will do more damage and more KO damage. And also with hammer, always aim for the head, unless the breakable spot can cause them to fall down. Basically, you want to cause the monster to be knocked down as much as possible. So you got Build Cam right here, which involves this. Now, one take of the charge will allow you to do a side blow, which is do a charge follow up, and a charge follow up can go into this, which does a lot of damage, a lot of KO damage. This right here, brutal upswing, doesn't really go into much. If you try to like continue from this, it doesn't go as quickly as was just with this. So this is more used as like a hit and run. He's like the monster about to move, you can do this and dodge out of it. This move right here, charge 3, basically if the monster is stuck doing something, you want to hit this on their head. It will do a lot of damage. Or this right here, but you mostly just want to do this because that one takes too long to get the big hit out of it. The big bang. Now when the monster is KO'd, you want to go up to their head and use big bang combo, which is the circle attacks. Do not try to use this when the monster is not knocked down, because if you didn't hit anything while doing it, it was just nothing will happen. I'm spamming circle right now, nothing happens. But another thing you do with, if I can go to the slopes, yeah, down here, another big part of hammer is that if you go down a slope with this, you'll be able to do this move right here, which is incredibly powerful move right there. You want to try, if you see a slope, you want to try to hit down the monster as much as possible. And not only that, but with Iceborne, they add the fact that if you do a level charge 2 or 3 attack, standard 3 attack, you could do a Clutch Claw to it. Now, I never really explained what Clutch Claw does. When you Clutch Claw onto the monster, you can do fuck. This is a good time to explain Clutch Claw. Basically, you want to hit triangle on their head, because that will cause the monster to take extra damage around the spot that is all white and stuff like that. then you can also do this. That if that hits a wall or knocks them off a cliff or to another monster, that will cause them to fall down and get knocked out like that. So yeah, so you want to try to keep tenderized parts as much as possible. Heavy weapons like great sword, hammer, charged blade, twist axe, heavy bow gun, and lance will tenderize in one hit, but other weapons will take 2 times to tenderize. Skywatch for that. Okay, what are weapons down here? Dual blaze. With dual blaze, basically follows the same rules as a weapon. You want to stay in this mode as much as possible. But the problem with this mode is that it drains your stamina. So you gotta, you know, sometimes when you get low enough stamina, you have to do this early. You gotta cancel out of it early. But dual blaze is a very fast weapon. Basically, when you're in demon mode, you get faster, like movement speed when weapons are drawn. You get better at dodging, and you get better attacks, and also access to this attack, which is a dual blaze big move right here. And this move right here, basically you use this where you don't really have enough stamina to dodge normally. So use this to reposition. And if the red thing you see up there is at max, you basically have Archdemon mode. Doesn't really do a whole lot, but it allows you to do this move in non-demon mode, and also give you access to this Demon Flurry. But like I say, you don't really need to care about those moves when you're like going at cinema. So that's really nice deeper to do. Though I gotta show you this though. I gotta bring this thing over here. If I able to show, I can just show from this. You see the spinning thing I did? Yeah, if you hit the muster while you're spinning, you will do like a grind. You know Attack on Titan, right? With Levi? Yeah, basically you will do what he does all over through the monster. So you want to get like on a long part of the monster when you do that. Alright, next weapon, Great Sword. Probably the hardest weapon for me to use. A Great Sword doesn't really have much attacks. Triangle, and another triangle, and that's what you're gonna be doing. Pretty much with Great Sword. But you gotta get it on the third tick, like there, for max damage for each hit. And you have sword attack right here, which blasts your armor through most attacks as long as you're able to survive it. It will also just skip the next part of the combo, but allows you to get the true charge slash a lot faster. Yeah, but that's about it. Great Sword requires you to know a lot about the monster you're fighting against. Okay. Sword and Shield. What Sword and Shield allows you to do. Sword and Shield is a very, I would say, a kind of, I don't It's just absurdly weird amount of damage for being what it is. Basically, like this. It's a very agile weapon. You can dodge out most attacks pretty fast as long as you don't do short and shield combo, the third triangle hit, but like chop, flash. What I like to do with sword and shield is circle, triangle, triangle, hold L2 to and circle will do shield attacks if you remove L2 during it, or if you do still, it'll do 3 strong attacks with the sword. Then you go to backstep. Backstep has IE frames during it. You have 2 options. You do triangle for mountain damage or circle for more damage and KO damage. But what you really want to focus on doing with sword and shield is this. If you time all this perfectly, you can do comparable damage to a great sword. Though, like I said, you gotta time it perfectly. Yeah, I got perfect rush. And this thing also has something unique with Clutch Claw that if you were to do a dodge tech L2, you will clutch onto the monster like that, and that counts as part of the terrorize combo. So you only need to terrorize once if you manage to pull it off. Oh yeah, and Dual Blaze has something similar too. I forgot to show you that. So what weapon now looks interesting to you now?
Right now, I'm looking at the dual blades and the sword and shield so
Alright, there we go. Probably one of the better terrorizers in the game. That's about it. I'm not sure if you're really interested in hunting horn or not.
no. I don't like how to use this.
You want to see it or not?
No, not.
Okay, so hunting horn basically want to try to put out the songs as much as possible. So basically, triangle. If you see right there on the right upper side of the screen, that shows the songs you gotta play. Alright, each button is color coordinated. So for self-improvement, you hit triangle twice, which is 2 white notes. Then to play that song, you hit R2. And you play it, and hit R2 again, it will do a stronger version of the song. You know, and you want every hunter you will get to have attack up. Because without attack up, hunting horn is not really all that good. And there's like a little text about hunting horn. I don't think it's hard for me to remember, honestly. Like if you hold back triangle or hold back on any button, you do that, but it has to be the second hit. For the second hit, for circle, right here, if you press a button during that, it will automatically play that note, but you have to do the attack. If I can manage to pull it off. It's really hard for me to pull it off. Yeah, I just spam triangle right there to get it. So you say you want to play Dual Blaze or Sword and Shield?
I'm making a dual blades and sword and shield, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I would say go dual blaze.
Okay.
Well, with dual blaze though, you are going to need to make. If you care about DPS, honestly, I'd say you should go raw because constantly making different elemental dual blaze is annoying as fuck. So just go raw with dual blaze. So yeah, so is it helpful for you?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I gotta stop the stream now.
Okay.
Like I said, like